So welcome back, guys. We're already rocking and rolling, but I wanted to introduce and bring on Mayra Leen. She is an author, hypnotherapist, priestess, which I think we're going to get in and digest what exactly that is. If you're not sure about the terminology or like her stepping into it or like what led her pathway to becoming a priestess, it's something that I resonate with as well, like the pleasure priestess.
Yeah.
So I would love to start it off with just saying welcome, and then what's turning you on right now or making you feel the most alive?
Yeah. I mean, just you saying priestess already, like, I want to say something about that, maybe.
Please, yeah.
It's alive. Like, even when you say the word, or like, I remember the first time I heard the word, I felt energy moving through my body. And I was like, what is that? What does that word mean? I hadn't really heard it before, and yet it did something to me as soon as I heard it. And I was like, and so I want to sort of acknowledge that might be happening to somebody out there,
cool.
right? Like,
I love that
like
idea.
They're saying, we said this and they've never heard it before, and there's something running through their body. And so that's why I want to sort of pause and acknowledge that could be happening.
Oh, that gives me a little chill and truth bump.
I know. Because it's something that's sort of beyond me, beyond maybe even understanding. I feel like it's an archetype that's like coming, like that's rising in the collective. And there are people that are called to it, and there's like sort of an energy. It's a life of its own kind of thing. And it's also being like co-created and defined by those who choose to embody it as well. So it's a both. It's like it's already there and it has momentum, and as more come in, we're sort of defining it together. And as is true with the feminine, there is no definition. It's beyond, it's infinite, it's expansive, it continues, it never ends. It's a lot of things.
I love it.
So
I love that you color outside the lines too. It definitely like speaks to my heart, and like about and bringing that in. It's like, it is this, but it's not this, and it is also this. And I love how you put like highlighted that as more people like step into it, or it like kind of shifts the frequency or energetics of it, or like I think the imagery that came up in my mind, or that I was reminded of, was like the tapestry, like another thread coming in. And like, so that's kind of neat to think of it in that way or manner.
Yeah.
I don't remember the first time I heard the word priestess. Do you remember where you were? Or just...
I don't.
Yeah.
I just remember the experience and then being really curious.
Cool.
And then I've received confirmation, because I think I needed that, because I was like, am I making things up? Like I definitely live in the space where it's like, okay, I need confirmation.
Yeah.
And I received it from a friend that she's a medium and a seer. And she's, kind of been speaking to spirits since she was a child. It's a really weird, sort of experience, especially having that experience so young, not calling it in, not knowing what it was. She's had a whole journey with that. And even now she sort of lives outside of community. And so she doesn't really have a lot of validation on what's even happening. And it's a very interesting life, but we met in a certain way. She came to my women's retreat, and she directly received, like, while we were in like a fire ceremony, like that I'm a high priestess. And I was like, do you know what? I'm like, have you ever heard that word? She's like, no. So I knew she was like not trying to confirm something for me or trying to like stroke my ego or anything like that. And I'm like, well, what does it mean? Like, what did you receive about it? And she said something really simple, like someone who creates ceremony and ritual. And I was like, well, that sounds right.
I like that.
And that does feel true to my experience.
Yeah.
Like one who, like, I feel like I just know what to do in moments, and things are just ritual and ceremonial.
Yeah. I feel like life
just because I'm there, and because I said so, and because we deem it so, and it's not that serious.
Yeah.
We're also like, okay, all this like mysticism, and we can just light a candle and here we are.
And be a messy human.
And we're here. Yeah.
I love play. I think play is so important. I feel like that's definitely, when we met for coffee before we decided like on a date and time for this, I love that. I was like, I said something about work and play. You're like, or play and play. I'm like, love that reframe. Because yes. I want to like rewind a little bit and think about like who you were before you stepped into this pathway. Because I feel like that could be like resonant with people where they maybe that's some of their experiences that they're going through, experiencing in life right now as. So, and I don't even know. So it's kind of like this like fun discovery process. I mean, I've read a little blurb on your website, but I'd love to get it from you.
I want to say I have 5 placements in Capricorn. Oh. I want to start there just to give you like the child that I was born. So that in combination with, I have always felt like I've had an awareness and a way that I've experienced the world where I'm like really observant and really like tracking, when I was younger, the adults in my life and being like, that's interesting. That's scary. Like I've always been like sort of a psychologist or anthropologist or whatever, just like humans are so interesting to me. So that's always been true. But with these 5 placements in Capricorn, what's also been true is I've like sought structure and like, give me the steps, give me the plan so I can follow it and check the things off, meet the goal ahead of schedule, and like just really like leadership plan, achievement, all of that being super important, and also get out of my way, like really kind of hardcore that way. So that led me to, of course, wanting to climb the corporate ladder, Fortune 100, like how high can I go in the structures that exist? And also education being important. I self-enrolled. Like I was a 13-year-old who was like, oh, let me enroll myself in this and let me do this study abroad program and let me do, like, I just self-initiated myself into like as much education and learning and programs and development as I could as early as I could. Fast forward to being like, how old was I? Late, like 28, 29, Saturn return-ish timing.
Cool.
And being like, okay, I am making the 6 figures already. I own a home. I have a husband. I have a passport filled with travel. Like I'm doing all the things that happy and successful people do, including the travel. Because some people are like, oh, well, but I never took the trip. I'm like, no, I took the trip. Like I made sure I drank margaritas on the beach and then I worked really hard and I made the money and I, did all the things. And I was like, what is this feeling of emptiness or like dissatisfaction or like, I just could like feel not well. And if I looked closely into my life, like there was a lot of like frustration. Like I was frustrated in my marriage. I also had a really fragmented life. Like my personal like party life, and then there's my professional life. There was my family life. And so I could see that like things were good on paper, but not internally. And so I would say that's who I was before. Just a super like business, driven,
like go-getter. That's what I think of when I think of Capricorn. Like they are doing the things, they are going after the things, they're the successful.
That's who it was. Like, and I can also place myself in like hyper masculine too, which I didn't know that then, but so
that resonates with me
hyper
too.
Masculine.
Yeah, I feel like my masculine was a protector for my feminine for so long, or like that doing. Was there a moment or like that was like the moment that shifted, like I'm leaving this space? Or
it was a few months. It was the November before COVID. So it was 20.
Whoa.
Yeah.
Okay.
So it was right like after Thanksgiving, and again like the fact that I had checked the check boxes was too clear. It was like I can remember it was like a Sunday. my dad had come into town. I was living in Chicago at the time. We spent the, afternoon in a rooftop, overlooking the skyline. I'm with my husband, and we're having this like really, like, I have family, I have a partner, I have success. I'm like, where else do I want to be? And I came home and I'm taking off my makeup and I'm like, I'm so unhappy. What the F, Can I curse on this?
Yeah, for sure. Please,
okay.
yeah.
I've been wanting
It's
to
all
curse.
allowed.
I'm like, I forgot to ask.
Let it rip.
I was just like, what the fuck? What is going on? And in that moment, I was like, okay, so far what I've been doing is checking boxes. And in that moment, I made the decision to figure out what it would take to make me happy. And so that's where my journey began. And luckily, like, everything I needed came immediately to respond to that. Because I was already in personal development, all that stuff, it wasn't a big switch to then go into discovering like true happiness. And, certain spiritual teachers came into my life. And then, of course, like fast forward a few months later, COVID happened.
Yeah.
And I just got all this space and time.
Oh, I didn't think about that.
And I dropped into what I will now refer to as my feminine. I didn't know that's what was happening, but I was just like, I want to walk in nature and I'm going to smell the flowers. And I'm like in this like bliss bubble of like I just dropped into my feminine without even realizing. No schedule, no agenda, no timing. And that was actually because the collective had no answers. I thought it was a 2-week thing,
Yeah, same. I
It was like,
oh, okay.
2
weeks.
I'm like,
Go on,
okay,
say it,
2
2
weeks, I'm going to chill. I'm going to relax.
Yeah.
And 2 weeks turned into 2 months, turned into like, and I just haven't been the same. Like, it's like after my feminine, like, activate and experience that, like, exhale for the first time. I'm even like feeling it now.
Yeah, I want to take a deep breath. I'm like,
no, because as I talk about that person, like, she's still there and she comes on and she's like, oh yeah, you want to talk about me? Like, let's do it,
Yeah.
And it's like, okay, slow down. You're still there. You're still loved. You're still appreciated. And there's so much more going on now. But she's still super active, as you can feel. Ever since I dropped into that space, my journey has been returning to that over and over again. And after that time, I went through a really dark period with my divorce and all that. And I'm finally coming back to a place that's even better than that. Like, I'm no longer even going back to that, but like, the pieces are just coming together in a beautiful way. And I'm now in a place of integration with my feminine and masculine. So it's no longer like this huge pendulum swing, but the journey has been a journey. For sure. And I see people who didn't have as dramatic of a COVID like experience with their feminine, like slowly coming to their feminine. And I also see a lot of like the mistakes that I made, people are making. And so there's things like that where I'm like, okay, let me help you guys. Because it's like, it's a journey.
Yeah.
And there's like being fully in your feminine is also not the answer. It's a beautiful, like, I think we all need that experience. And there is like a reconciliation between both, and like, and it doesn't also have to be equal. Like, it doesn't like equal feminine, masculine. It's whatever's right for you.
Yeah, like your own ratio.
Your own ratio.
I like that.
Yeah.
I felt that recently, like with my shift with my writing process. Like, I was like, okay, I'm going to write for at least this amount of time a day, like 20 minutes to 60 minutes. And that helped create the masculine structure for the feminine to flow. And I felt less anxious because it was like there. But yeah, so much of your story resonates with me as far as like the do, achieve, hyper independent, or like masculine, I guess, and then, just the feminine essence, the beingness and the receiving and creating and more flow. Although sometimes I do default to like, blocking calendar, blocking schedules, shifting shit around. So then I'm like, how am I supposed to let spirit, source, God provide for me if I don't give it time and space too?
Yeah.
So you mentioned mistakes that people make. Or is there any that you want to highlight now or bring light to?
I think one of the things is because this like feminine soft girl era is new to the collective, there's similar to what successful corporate or whatever looks like, we've sort of created like a poster child for the soft girl. And I think that's the mistake. Like, if you think you should look like or be doing something or not doing something, you're just, it's the same, what do I want to say? Like chains. It's the same oppression,
Process
just colored with differently.
Yeah.
And so my suggestion would be to explore what's true for you. And the mistakes that I made were I thought I was just supposed to be like asleep and resting all the time. And so I did that for like kind of 2 years. And you lose a lot of money like that. You spend a lot of money. It's expensive. But I was willing because I was that dedicated to like, I'm going to figure this out. I don't care if I lose everything. What does it take? Like, that's what I'm saying. Like, I'm a very extreme person. So it's like, and I've made all the mistakes. So, so being on the beach, margaritas, doing all this was nice. But what I realized is it wasn't giving me more energy. So I was sort of like, the rest was making me more tired. And then I was like, okay, I don't think this is what's going on here. Because how do I rest more? How many more spa days do I need? Right? Because that's what you think, like spa, this, if only I could just be. And it's like, no, girl, like I did that. That's not the answer. And then I realized, like, wait, what gives me energy? And I started realizing, like, oh, when I share, oh, when I'm helping someone else, when I'm activating, when I'm presenting, when I'm like facilitating a workshop, the amount of energy that moves through me is like, there's aliveness there. And so then I stopped like chasing rest, and I was like, my word now, or my word this last year was like more aliveness. And like, when am I alive? Because who cares if I'm rested for what? For living, actually. Like, I want to live. So then I started moving into just noticing what gave me energy and what didn't. And sometimes, rest is still really important, and we live in a society that's under rested. So for sure, there's probably for everybody like a need for more rest, but don't go to the extreme to where it's counterintuitive for you, and focus actually like, what do we want rest for anyway? Energy. So then let's focus on energy and see like, how does energy move through you? What makes you alive? It might be painting. It might be dancing. It might be something actually really active. So just noticing that would be like key.
Yeah. I think I have that resonates too. I'm like, it gave me a lot of medicine. Like the I was like, I just want to be a horizontal god. I was a horizontal goddess for a long time, but this year just feels like so alive with different actions and activities and creativity. And I think that's such a potent like question or self-inquiry process to gift like someone listening to live life on their own terms as to like what's feeding you, what's like giving you energy or making you feel more alive, if they're like navigating those waters of like, hey, there's something that I want to shift, even if I don't know exactly what that is yet or how to step into it. And how cool now that you like do workshops and like in this space of like, would you say like tantric, priestess, like that kind of space, or what do we call it?
Yeah. What do I call it? I don't know. Help me. I mean, that's the tricky part. I'm somewhere like embodiment, tantric, empowerment.
Yeah. And I wanted to, I saw that you had like the Priestess weekend. I would love to like see what the takeaways and things, stories or shares that you have from that. And I just think it's like so cool, like you just not knowing and then stepping into like something that you don't know what it is. It's still evolving, like whatever. And then now stepping into like a leadership in that space too. And like, so I see like now it's like all those leadership moments from that life also serve this one in a way, because you have like, it's just like different.
Yeah. Yeah. And what's interesting, this is very new, but my business and strategy like background is now starting to creep back in. Like even today with like my my mentee, like our, I don't know, I hate coaching calls, but you know, kind of like that's not what I do. But in our call, we started going into that, and I was like, ooh. I'm like, okay. And then my Priestess weekend as well. I mean, money has always been really important to me because I did, like, through my experience with my 5 placements in Capricorn. No, I did figure out some money things in our, given our structures and given all that. And then I let it all go. And then now, yeah, again, because I'm in my integration, it's like it's all coming back together. And there's things that I'm like, oh, I knew that it was going to come back. I think I was surprised that at the launch of my Priestess weekend, it was there. And I think the biggest like shock to me is that at the end of the weekend, I was able to pay every participant money. Cool. I was like, ugh. And it came from a donation from somebody that said, can you gift this to the priestesses just as a tribute? Like not for anything done, just I'm feeling gratitude. Here it is. And so at the end of my Priestess weekend, I was like, okay, I taught you guys to rest, to play, to follow your intuition. Like, and you've experienced what that does, right? Like things come up and then you're able to move through them, like just flow, ease, all that. And then at the end, I'm like, and I know that when you go home, you're going to be like, yeah, but now I have to go do the thing to make the money. However, and I dropped $100 in front of each one of them. And I'm like, someone just gave you money for being you. And that's how it works. And like, it's so important to separate work and money, I think. This was one thing that I really had to like untangle because of my corporate salary. It was like, I was very much like, no, you work and you make money through that and then you play. And it's like, no, money flows. Money's energy. Money can be gifted and experiences can be gifted. And I mean, I just spent the last 2 days staying in someone's house, luxurious, by myself with my dog, massive hot tub, like
hell yeah,
4-story patio, like just amazing. And it's like, did I pay for that? No. So it's like, stop tangling. Like there's so much entanglements with money. And then there's work, which again, there's so many entanglements with that. Like it has to be hard. You have to be consistent. What else is there? Yeah, you don't have to like it. You have to do something. And it has to be worth something for an exchange. But it's like, especially like as a priestess, like you work for God. That's how I see it. You work for God, so you do your work. You show up, you are where you are, you tell people what you need to tell them. You know, if you need to touch someone or offer like some words or just exist in a certain way so someone receives something, like you don't, like it would be wrong to be like, oh, all these people need to pay me. It's like you have to trust that if you work for God, God will pay you. And so then that's like kind of the separation between like money and work. It's like just do what you need to do. And not in self-sacrifice either, because that's another thing that especially women get into, which is like, if you're in self-sacrifice, you're probably not doing your aligned work in that moment.
Would you say that self-abandonment is kind of a form of self-sacrifice too?
Yeah.
Like, yeah,
for sure.
Okay. I was just curious. Yeah, like untangling work. Was there a moment, I guess now I'm trying to think of my question. When you realize like, oh, I don't have to do something for like, you know, being the presence as medicine and that being and like amplifies like a magnetism of some sort. that like attracts in that money or the client or like I know I've had an experience where it's like, oh, it's not what I'm doing, it's me.
Yeah.
Or like, you know, or like being with someone, or just like presence and intentionality. And I was like, oh.
It's been a journey, and I think I'm still unpacking it. Like there's still edges where I'm being pushed to. The one that I can think of right now that was like, I could like viscerally like feel the edge of that and then leaning in. I had, so I do private retreats. And so I had a client with a 24-hour like experience. And I don't know, in the middle of it, I just got really tired. And they were also, I could feel like there wasn't anything moving because I'm very like intuitive in my sessions and all that. And oh my God, I feel even like, I can't believe I'm saying this. Like, this is recorded, but that's fine.
If we ever want to like take you there, we have editing privileges.
I'm here for it. I'm here for the edges of my own experience.
Yeah.
Yeah, like I couldn't like where is this session? Where is this going? What is alive? And I could just feel the energy was like down. So I was like, I'm going to take a bath. And then I think I'm going to take a nap. And I did that. And as I was in the bath, I was like, well, first I was like, let me take a bath, step one. And just so I can sit there because that's where I like recoup, like maybe I just needed to re-energize or something so that I can be with this client. And then from there, I was like, no, I need a nap after this. And then I was like, okay, that's what I'm going to do. And I did that. And that felt very edgy because, of course, like in my head, I'm like 24 hours, like every hour kind of like, I don't know, like I just want to create value. Like I want to have them have like a breakthrough and a whole experience and all
like
this
over
stuff.
deliver.
Yeah, I want to
like,
always over deliver. And no, I just took a nap and then I woke up and felt great and checked in and they felt great with that space. Like I think we needed that space. Because my medicine is pretty intense. So it actually probably made sense. Like intensity, rest, do nothing, break, separate in a way, and then come back for something more. But that was one of those where what I had charged for that was already at an edge for me, which was like, ooh, I haven't received this much in this amount of time yet. Now I have. Like now I'm good.
Cool.
But at the time, it was the first time I had charged that much. And the universe calling me to sleep. I was like, why are you doing this? But I knew it was like a universe just preparing me. And it's like always moments like that where it's like, the universe is preparing me and pushing me to really ground that you don't have to do anything at all. You get to sleep and take a bath and rest. And I have a lot of like smaller examples of that, but that was one that was really just because it felt so important to create something. And it's like, just chill.
Yeah, I like that one.
Yeah.
I want to talk more about your Priestess weekend too.
Okay.
Like what it looks like. Like, or, like let's peek behind the curtain a little bit.
Okay. Are y'all ready?
Buckle up, buttercups.
Yeah, even calling it a Priestess weekend was a little bit of an edge, because it's like, oh, well, should I use words that are more accessible, like women's
retreat or immersion or
some relaxation? But I felt really called to call it a Priestess weekend because I think the principles that I'm like, what's being transmitted, what's happening, the amount of ritual, and also the fact that there's a temple in the middle of it is all Priestess vibes.
That's real dope.
And it's like you either have to resonate or not resonate. Like I can't have anyone who's like, what? No, like you gotta be in or not.
I could see where that would be like, wait, I thought I was just going to come to learn or get the knowledge. But I'm like, no, you're going to apply it too.
No, we're going
if you're with me, we're going deep.
Yeah. And I am incorporating like all the pieces that I think are important. So the arc of how I hold containers, but especially like these immersions, is I start with a lot of space. and relaxation and nothingness. And I like to do it like to the point of discomfort, because we're like, like, what are we doing? What are we doing? And it's like, no, just gonna relax, enter, everything's easeful. And the whole point is just to begin to drop the nervous system, like to a level of slowness. So that's like Friday evening usually. And then depending on where people are Saturday and what I sense in the field is where we can have different activations or rituals, or it really is like an emergent experience depending on what people are sharing. I mean, I just launched it, so I've had like one test of this,
so cool,
really.
though. And
Yeah.
I'm celebrating that for you because that's dope.
So I did for this one, my intention was to do one-on-ones and having witnesses for that. Yeah, so because I really wanted to make sure that everyone got something out of it, and also because I trust the field like that. Like I trust that, like for like our conversation, even though it's like ours, other people resonate, or when I'm working with someone. Because what I'm also teaching is how can women trust their intuition? So the way that I'm transmitting that is, one, they're watching me, right? So they're watching my intuition and my work like live right there with a sister. And I also invite them to join in as they feel necessary. So, and that can look like, where are you sitting in the room? What are you doing? Or do you want to come in and maybe like place a hand? Or do you want to say something? And so all of these experiences are all leveling them up into like, oh, who am I? Or what would I have done differently? Or if, let's say I place a hand here, and they were like, oh, yeah, I was feeling activation there, right? Like, so then they're starting to like confirm their own, like, oh, yeah, I felt that too. I experienced that too. And then we're all sharing. And so there's a lot happening just really naturally, intuitively, a lot of like transmissions and a lot of like hands-on is happening. And then Saturday evening, this is what I call like rubber meets the road. This is the lab. This is where it gets real. We invite men to enter ceremonially into the temple, into the Priestess temple, the field that we've already created. They're all vetted, and the rules with them is no initiation. They cannot initiate.
Ooh.
At all.
Wow.
They actually can't even roam the space. Like I have a lot of rules for like what they can and can't do, because also they need to learn to lean back and relax and let the women lead. And it's such a beautiful experience on all ends. So the men learn, what does it feel like when I'm not initiating, when I'm not chasing, when I'm not doing that thing. And for women, it's like, what does it feel like when I'm not waiting to be chosen or performing or self-sacrificing or whatever for the field? And so it's juicy. I mean, I was just surprised. I thought what I expected was for it to be really challenging for people and for me to have like a lot of conversations afterwards about like, okay, well, let's look at that and let's look at that. And there were challenges, but by far it was just yummy. People, I feel like everyone was surprised by how that felt and what happened when everyone was leaned back and relaxed and no one's performing and nothing's required and there are no expectations. No one's promised anything. I even told the men, like, I'm like, even if you're bored out of your mind out of this because no one's engaging with you, you're required to stay till the end. And we can talk about that. And so it was, but of course that didn't even happen either. It was fun. I'm just like, I can't share too much. But it was juicy. It was a lot better than I expected. I mean, I'm open for every weekend to be different because it depends on who shows up and what happens. But it's an experiment that I think the field needs. And I think it's an imprint that we're making in the collective.
That's cool.
That's what I feel like is happening.
I think it's a really cool lived experience. And one to like to experience the lean back, and like for the feminine or the females or women there to take the initiation or follow their intuitive nudges. It sounds to me like there's just like you have a deep like self-trust, and I'm curious if there was like anything that helped build that along the way, or that like established that within yourself.
Years of trial and error.
Okay.
Yeah. I was listening to a podcast that I did back in 2021. That's like the last time I did podcasts. And I was sharing about my intuition and how I'm building it. And one of the things I talked about, which I'm like, ooh, that's good. Because I was like, yeah, right now I am at a point where I'm willing to put everything on the line. Like, and that's how much I trust my intuition. But it's like, yeah, how... So this is looking back like 5 years, and what I was doing then, I found non-serious things to play with my intuition. So instead of like, is this my partner? Is this what to do with my offer? Or, you know, like all these serious things, it was exploring like, did this lead to more player fun? And like, sort of like, hey, I'm open to fun today, universe.
Show me.
Like, use my intuition to guide me towards a little bit more play and fun in my life. And so I think that's one tip that I would want to give, because we usually take our intuition really, like, do I need to break up with him? You know?
Wow.
Like,
I was listening to a sermon on this on the way here, or not the way here, but I was getting ready. It was talking about like, we focus so much on those big decisions in our life. And then they're like, well, how are you showing up? What kind of human are you being? Like, how are you moving or being in the world? And so it's just interesting.
Yeah.
When you touched on partners, I kind of want to, now that spurred me, I was like, oh yeah, I kind of want to talk about that 8 husbands concept that we had coffee about.
Yeah.
So, because I love the idea of it, like creating your own type of like dynamic that works for you.
Yeah.
Living life on your terms.
Yeah.
And so when you said that at coffee, I was like, don't tell me everything now. I want you to share as much as you want to share with me on the podcast, so I can go through like that discovery, or authentic, you know what I mean? Like, you're sharing it with me live for the first time, so it's like I'm not coming in with anything.
Yeah. Okay. I'll start with it.
If you feel
Okay, I will, like, yes, I do color outside the lines a lot. Yes, I'm like, specifically, I question every paradigm and structure in society, and I am a person that explores, like, does that work for me? Because of how boxed and checked I lived, I am so adamant about living outside of that and making sure that I'm just living an authentic life. Does this work for me? And the second thing that I'm really big on is, just because it works for me doesn't mean it works for other people. Okay, so I'm not out here trying to like promote polyamory or non-monogamy if that's not someone's truth.
Yeah.
So I do want to say like those two things. Okay, so the 8 husbands came to me in self-pleasure practice. That's what I want to say. And I was just as shocked, I think, as anyone would be, that my true desire was that I was really turned on by the idea of 8 husbands. So the way I do self-pleasure, I sort of do like sex magic, but not in the way of like, there's this thing, come to me and let me pleasure so that it comes. I don't think that's how it's supposed to work. I'll just say that. The way I do sex magic is, what is my true turn on right now? Like, so it is like a little bit of fantasy, but it's like, I'm just trying to find like my truth, like physically, because I'm always like, da-da-da-da-da, right? Like, and it's like, what lights up my body right now? And then I'll pleasure to that. And so that's what I call sex magic. It's like, it's a true, like, it's coming from within me. It's not out there. It's like, oh, like, and so that's why I'm sometimes shocked by what comes through, but I also trust that it's a true desire because I'm literally like getting off to it. So it's like, I can't make this up. You know, you can't fake like an orgasm. Well, people do fake an orgasm, but like,
I don't recommend it, but
don't recommend it. Yeah. But in your self-pleasure practice, you're looking for your authentic, like, what turns me on. So I did feel like the 8 husbands like came to me as an authentic desire or was revealed to me, and I was like, yeah, and that really feels true. Like I would want that. And it's something that I really thought I would never say out loud.
I've been told sometimes I can be an initiatrix.
No. Because I was like, well, that's ridiculous, but whatever. I'll just like self-pleasure to that because it feels good right now and it feels true and it feels like yummy. Yeah. And what I realized was yummy to me was multiple, and not just like a few, but like 8.
Yeah.
And I think the husband word is what I was translating as somebody who is like committed to me in a way, or is supportive of me. And so that's what it is. And now as I explore my life, like I have dynamics that are not sexual, but are supportive and committed to me in some ways. And I'm like, okay, that's husbandish.
Oh, yeah, totally.
That's husbandish. And so I'm building my husband.
Cool. I just think it's such a neat concept.
Yeah, a lineup. And I'm open for that to look however it needs to look. I'm not attached to like a wedding. I'm not attached to actually. I'm not attached to it being like full on, you know, sexual partners with all 8. Yeah, so that's my 8 husband.
Yeah, I like the
experience.
It's like the distinction of like the supportive relationship.
Yeah.
And I love that you said like, hey, I'm not like touting like this is the way for everybody. Because I know for myself, I've experimented and then I've like come back to like, okay, this is true for me now. So I think there's like for me giving myself permission to evolve.
Yeah.
And not fixating on one or the other and be like really like, okay, well what's really true? What does Kristin want?
Yeah.
Kind of like that inquiry question.
And for me, non-monogamy has been true for me for a long time. My first, like I had 2 boyfriends. Like my first boyfriend there's 2 of them. And I'm like a 12-year-old, you know? And that didn't feel wrong to me. They didn't know about each other, but that I wasn't hurting nobody. But it just felt natural and it felt good for me. And then even when I got married, I made sure in my vows there wasn't anything about you being the only, because I'm just like, that's irrelevant to me. I did write what I did care about. So yeah, it's just what I say is like a lot of people are trying non-monogamy. I'm like, I occasionally try monogamy, you know, but I for sure know I'm non-monogamous. That's just true for me.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think that there's like, you know, I don't know if benefits is the right word, but like challenges and I'll just use benefits or like pros, not necessarily cons, but challenges and pros or highlights of each, like whether you're celibate, whether you're like monogamy or whether you're like poly.
If I could be monogamous, I think that would be preferred. Like that seems easier.
Yeah. Okay. So that brings up another question. I asked people for questions, haven't answered them yet. But one of them was like, are open relationships possible? Or like, I think that's a good distinction. It's like, it's not necessarily easier.
It's harder.
Yeah,
are you kidding me? You're managing more things and more people and more personalities and all this. Well, okay. One thing that I see often is people think open relating, like a lot of avoidant people will be like, oh, let me open relate so I'm not all up in it. And it's like, it doesn't work like that. I mean, whether you're monogamous or non-monogamous, the depth at which you want to go needs to be clearly communicated. So just because you have multiple partners doesn't mean you can keep them all shallow, and that those partners are okay with that, you know? So the shallowness and depth and all of that to me is irrelevant of what model you're choosing.
Mhm.
So I wouldn't, yeah. So I think
feel
I
like,
want to,
yeah. I could see where both, I mean, like you could have like a monogamous relationship that's shallow or like swimming in the shallow waters, and then you could have one that's like deep. And then I see how you could have multiple connections, and those are like you can go deep with them too.
Yeah.
The only thing I guess I reckon with, or like I'm trying to reconcile with, is like the time. Like if I'm spending time with one person, then I'm automatically not spending time with someone else. Because I chat with someone like the previous podcast, he's like very much like, you're either choosing wide or you're choosing deep. I'm like, I don't think that's necessarily true.
No.
Because I think you can go deep with multiple
You can
people.
go deep with multiple. And I think it more speaks about yourself. Like for me, it's just hard to have shallow relationships, period. Friendships or other, like I just don't have time for it. And when I talk about non-monogamy, I think the easiest way is just looking at friendships, looking at multiple children, looking at parents, family members. It's like everywhere in our lives, we are okay with having multiple loving relationships. And then we go into romance and somehow we want to treat that differently and do all these trade-offs and do all this stuff. And it's like that's socially conditioned. So if you can have multiple pets and you sort that out, you can probably figure out multiple romantic partners as long as you can strip away what you're conditioned and what you think it needs to look like. So yeah, if you want to like live, cohabit one-on-one with all of them, that will be difficult. But if you're open to creating something that makes sense for you guys, then I can see it working. But it's a constant, like every relationships are hard, like period. Relationships are hard. So it's meeting whoever you're relating with, understanding their needs, their preferences, your own, staying true to that, coming to some terms that work. And then as they evolve, as challenges come up, constantly working on them. Like it's not different than all the other stuff.
I know, but I giggled a little bit because whenever you mentioned the multiple pets thing, I was like, I can barely handle one.
I know. Yeah.
You know, but,
And then that's true, right?
And
yeah,
I'm like, especially, well, because he's a puppy right now.
Yeah. So even though like I know I'm non-monogamous, it's not beyond me to like potentially have a future where I'm relating very monogamish because of children or because of my business or whatever. And so it's like I'm not stuck to having multiple, like it's not
you're not fixated on it.
I'm not fixated on anything. I just know that naturally I can love multiple people, that naturally more is more for me. And that I like to be the center of my own universe. And it just helps me when I have multiple things kind of going on. I just feel like I expand more in that way.
Like you get more enriched.
I just get more enriched. Yeah.
And I like that because it's like you can co-create your life, and that applies to your relationships too. I was chatting with someone one time. I was like, tell me about y'all's dynamic. Like, and I was telling a friend, I was like, I don't know if I want to have like this divine, sacred partner. You know what I was, terminology that I was assigning to union. Back then. Right? Which I'm like, yes, it is divine and sacred, but they all more messy. Yeah. No. They all I thought I had to use that language.
Even the annoying ones that end horribly, though that's probably your soulmate. It just taught you exactly what you needed, and then you can let it go. You don't have to marry or live forever with your soulmate.
You have had an agreement or something. And then I was like, or do I want to like see multiple? It's like, well, it could be both. Like you could have someone and like it evolves as you evolve or y'all evolve, and like just communicating that and being intentional within the relationship. And I was like, oh, okay, great. And I had someone say that they had like a little like team meeting or something. They're like, okay, this past 3 or 6 months, we've explored like being monogamous. How do we want to go forward in the next 3 to 6 months? Do we want to explore? Do we want
I
to do it
love
together
creative stuff
individually?
like that.
Yeah. So I think like that creativity behind it is.
Yeah, and I
is
think
neat.
Esther Perel talks about that
Oh,
a
really?
lot. Yeah, like just be creative. Like, why are we creative with everything else? You know, with child raising, with like, we're like, okay, what would work for me? And then our relationships were like, we're not fitting the model or what? And it's like, get creative. Yeah, like let's have reviews every 6 months. Like, let's change it up. Let's try something. I highly recommend hiring a tantrika to come into your session.
Yes, I echo that.
You know, have someone like spice up your life a little bit, you know, and that doesn't have to be sexual either. A lot of sessions can be more like, I love the Sex, Love, and Goop Netflix documentary. I feel like that first episode did really well on how someone can come in and enrich a couple's like sexual life without doing a threesome. Like I think people
that
are
doesn't
either
have
like,
to be penetrative.
it doesn't have to be a
impactful.
Yeah, it's like you can have someone in your bedroom and it be
That's
very
a charge.
intimate
Yeah,
and
for sure.
add something to it and then leave you guys to it, you know? So just want to add that.
Yeah, definitely. I echo that. I want to take a peek right here. Oh, I guess what came up while you're speaking too is like, yeah, because I feel like we're always like, or a lot of humanity, and I know I've done this too, always seeking the answers outside of myself. Like kind of like what you mentioned at the beginning of like, okay, give me the formula. I'm going to follow it. Yeah. And then da-da-da.
I want an A+.
Yeah. Gold star.
Yeah.
And then, so I think there's like some of that like connects and getting clear on like what they want or whatever. Got a little tongue tied. But this is like, if presence is a portal, this is a question I have here. What do you think keeps people from staying there?
Ooh, okay.
Yeah. I'm curious.
Ooh, first of all, that question's yummy. If presence is a portal, what prevents people from staying there? Because this is everything. Wow. It's funny, like the word that's coming to me is like fear of missing out. Which is like, oh, interesting.
And that makes sense if they're thinking about that they need to be somewhere else than right where they are, right?
Yeah, I think we live in a society where we've been given the checklist. We've been given like, here's what you need to be and do. And we're like pretty like bought into that we can't even like have an experience of being here and now and feeling complete in that and feeling like content or even being fully here and now because there's that thing and that thing's always there.
And if it's not that thing, it's another thing.
There's things.
Yeah.
And even like I'm thinking of my sessions, like when I'm able to get someone present and then they feel that bliss of like, whoa, I'm here now. And like, what if there's nothing else to do? What if there's nothing, like, what if, like I really like the meditation's always like, let go of the to-do list, let go of what you think you need to do, who you need to be, like just notice what's here, notice what's happening in your body, all of that. And then they come to that and we have an experience immediately. Even the thought of like, how do I hold on to this? But I still have to do the thing. Or like the problem or the situation or the thing that's unresolved or even just the anticipation of another moment is like just taking us away. Yeah, I think it's just the reality of our mind because the truth is like, I'm not even living there all the time.
Oh, yeah.
You know?
I totally get in my mind, in my head sometimes. Like, for sure.
So it's like a practice of like, okay, I'm doing that thing. or like just coming back to this present moment.
Like just noticing or
and
something.
just noticing. And I think I've tried to not make my mind an enemy.
Ooh, I like
Because then
that.
that's another battle and another like shame spiral that I don't need. So I'm like, okay, my mind is being its powerful self again, you know? Thank you so much. And, you know, just being in choice. Like, okay, cool. I love when my mind thinks of all the things, right? And like, what can I do to serve that? Let me just make a list. All right, let me put that somewhere. Let me write things down. So not making it wrong. And then being like, okay, mind, like I want a moment, you know, to just be here, just breathe, or just like, okay, there's other parts of me that want attention, you know, my womb, my pussy, or like, what's going on here? I'm feeling this like thing on my back or whatever, you know, so just presencing that there's other things that need attention. So I think we've just overemphasized our mind in our society. And the mind's always either in the past or future. And so if we can come to any part of our body, we'll be back into the present. And finding wisdom in those parts will help balance the mind. Because I think just noticing sensation is good, but if we can access wisdom and then we start to be like, oh, then we can sort of create like a collective, like a council of ourselves that guides us.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I like that. You plucked the words noticing sensations right out of my mind.
Yeah.
So dope.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's
I feel like that's what
healing.
helps bring me back to presence.
Yeah.
Is like those sensations. A lot of times we're like, okay, like, well, even like as you're speaking, I was like, okay, how can I be more present right now and like listen and drop in? I was like, feel the chair, run my fingers on my arm, you know, like just like be here, listen. And
I know.
yeah.
It's so interesting because I start so many of my events or calls with just breath. And then I go into silence and then I realize, oh, that was it. Whatever we do is going to be bonus. But we're all over the place all the time. And it's like, did I just coordinate this whole event and do all this stuff and prepare all this food just so that we could just breathe and be in silence? And it's like, oh, and I usually go into some embodiment, so I don't stay there that long, but I feel like that's the moment. Like that's when I'm like, oh, it was just for this. Because nothing else, like everything's just bonus. But like presence is really like a portal to everything we want. There's a teacher that says, like everything you want is in the now. Like nothing you want is anywhere else. So the more you can start to live in the now, the more you'll experience more of what you want. Because it's not anywhere else. It's like in the now, always.
Yeah. Do you think that people are scared to be in the now because of the feelings that may arise or emotions, maybe?
Ooh, that's good.
It percolated like, as you're speaking. It was something I was thinking on a little earlier too. It was like, why? Yeah. What's the resistance?
Yeah.
I know for me, I was like, oh, I feel deeply. And so I know that was a bit true, you know, for my journey.
Yeah.
It's like, okay. And the active, like, imaginative mind, right? But I was like,
appreciate you saying that because I think it's been a while since I've feared the present or the now or even any feeling in my body. But yeah, that's true. That's real. If you haven't, because the first thing that'll happen when you have a backlog. Oh yeah, disclaimer. So when you come to the present, if you have a backlog, which most people will, if you you will have to work through that backlog first. And most people are not ready to look at that list of all, you know, because it's usually anger, it's disappointment, it's heartbreak. And these are emotions that, you know, collectively we're not comfortable with, individually we're not comfortable with. But I highly recommend you feel them. my experience has been for sure each and every time the other side of that is a better understanding of what I care about, openness in my heart. Grief is always like, oh, deep love for something. Heartbreak is deep love for something. Anger is deep love for myself or something that I care about. And we want to think our way through it. I know I try to go that route a lot and just try to like, well, let me just sort it out a different way. Surely I don't have to feel it. Eventually you do. Because if you don't feel it intentionally, it will manifest in something physical, a disease. And yeah, so it will matter. It has to be expressed. Yeah,
I believe that. I did a rage ritual like a few weeks ago, and I went for it. I was like, I don't know where all this came from, or like if I even have to assign a meaning or a story or where it's originating. And I felt so like light afterwards. It was like, wow, how long have I been walking around with that? Because it was like this. We did a song of rage, a song of grief, and then a song of sensuality. And so it was like this really beautiful arc, and then repeat that a couple of times. I was like, wow, I love that. I'm looking at, okay, we're almost out of time.
No!
I know, at least for this one. Is there anything else that you want to share, drop in, or it's like, I want to just give space for that?
I'd like to know what you took away from this conversation.
Oh, so much.
Like,
I mean,
what feels
the first
like...
word that comes to mind is empowerment.
Oh.
Like, yeah, you're empowering me, empowering others, like seeing you step in and lead other priestesses. It's like, I want to do that. You know, it's inspiring possibilities. Yeah, for sure. Just like, yeah, I would say like inspiring different possibilities is like a big one. And empowerment.
What do you feel like your listeners struggle with?
I feel like maybe fixating on the healing journey a little bit. You know?
Yeah.
That's what comes to mind. Like a project to fix.
Yeah.
And maybe weave in more of that miracle to explore expansive creativeness.
Yeah.
Or they're yearning for something. Maybe they don't know what exactly they're yearning for. And it also depends. Like sometimes I look at like, okay, who's listening? And sometimes it's like a 60% female, 40% male. Sometimes it's more 50-50. So I'm also kind of thinking like where they're at in life. So if they're like mid-20s to 45 and then some outliers sprinkled, where are they at? You know, are they discovering like what they really want for themselves, or they're seekers for fucking sure.
Yeah.
Like curious, or they wouldn't be listening to this.
Yeah. I think for those who are in the beginning of their healing journey, it's like, yeah, I mean, do all the things. And then I imagine that most of your listeners are not at the beginning of their healing journey. So what I would want to say is there is a shadow with healing. And one thing that has been like presencing for me is every time I put my GPS, Google Maps, and I arrive somewhere, it says like, arrived. And that word has just been like, I've been really claiming arrival. Like I'm not like I'm not like I'm here. I'm here. I want to say I'm somewhere. Like I'm here. Like I have arrived where I am. And that's not to say I'm not still walking. But I have arrived somewhere. So can I take a look at how much I have traveled and where I am, because I'm somewhere. I have arrived. to a really blessed, blissful, co-creative, magical place filled with possibility and potential. And how yummy is that? And there's a lot of creation from here, but like I'll never be here again. And there's still so much I don't know. And even like I feel myself listening, like even like hearing, like I feel like there's a future self of me that's like listening to myself now. I don't know, that's kind of weird, but that's like, oh, like there's still refinement in some of your words. There's still things you still don't know, and yet I'm here and there's value for somebody. And like trusting that and claiming where your feet are and what you're offering and where you are and who you're with. And every time you see that GPS, I've arrived, remember, I'm here. I'm here and I'm alive.
Yeah. That made me emotional. Thank you. And that's such a good reminder. And I use my GPS all the fucking time. So I'm going to assign that meaning. Fuck yeah. And I'm like, what came up too is like, one day I'm going to miss this. So it's like, why not arrive where my boots are, where my feet are? Like, you know, I love that.
Yeah. Like if you believe, if you feel in your system that like there's so much greatness ahead, it's like, this is probably as simple as your life will be. So enjoy that. Like I think about that. I'm like, I'm going to have assistants and landscaping and pool boys and employees. And right now, you know, there's things I'm managing, but it's like, we're so much in the potential space, and it's like, and I've done so much work. Like, this is a sweet spot.
Ooh, girl.
This is a sweet spot. And it's like, let me enjoy this.
I'll tell you off camera what that means to me.
Okay.
Yeah. That one I got to keep to myself.
Are you sure?
Yeah.
Okay.
For now. It won't be forever, but yeah. It's a project I'm working on.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
Yeah. All right. I'm going to put all of your stuff in the show notes. Thank you so much.
Yeah.
For your light and just being here and accepting my invitation.
Yeah.
I love it.
It was my pleasure.
Thank you.